Hello, welcome to JS News 10. Today with me is Oleg. Hey Oleg.
Hi, Peter.
And today we have a bunch of new things, so I think we can go with an intro and then we'll go with the topics.
Let's go.
DevSpresso.
Okay, we're back. Okay, so for the first topic, we have bigger thing. The biggest news from my perspective, and this is the news from me, is the ECMAScript International has approved the ECMAScript 2023 spec and other specs underneath for it. So
Woohoo!
what happened actually is that the whole assembly met in Geneva and wanted to just make the proper sign of it and have it done. So they did. So we know what new features will be in ECMAScript 2023. We knew what might be in that new spec because of the drafts, etc. that we had talked about it before.
Multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah. But so from what we know, what is actually signed is that we'll get the most delightful and the most common and wanted function, and they called it. Yeah, they called it. You can right now find from last in arrays, which means from the proposal in array you can just type dot find last, and that will give you the last item, and then you can find last index, then you get the latest index. And
No. I can't believe it.
yeah, so that's cool. Another thing is that there will be permitting symbols as case in weak maps arrays. That is a little bit different, but in the end of the day, we will be able to use unique symbols as a key in maps, and that's super cool. Another part is if you do make a like if you do change an array, then we'll be able to change it by copy, which means you can just make a change and then the new copy with that change will be in the new parameter. Sorry.
Less references?
Yeah,
No.
it won't be having a reference right now. That it'll be a direct copy, and
No.
so
No.
that will be so cool to have like array in the beginning, and when you make a change, then you have a copy of an array, so you don't make the change directly in it without referencing. And in my idea, that this is cool because we'll have.
It was a missing piece. Let's be fair. It was a missing piece.
It was a missing piece. And the last part of the spec is hashbang grammar, which means I don't know if you know shebangs or hashbangs. They are mostly done in CLIs. And for example, in Bash, when you start a Bash script, you always start it with exclamation point and hash. This is a shebang. And for that, they introduce a bunch of things, but in the end of the day, we can just generate valid JS source by passing before it a proper shebang for JS, and that is cool. But this is only a spec for a language, and we'll have another specs directly approved, and one of them is actually very interesting. From what I saw, they called it the holographic data storage disk, so HDSD. And the concept is they wanted to have a spec for the disks that there will be about 1 terabyte of storage, but that might have different ideas in terms of how they are storing the data, and they are mostly prepared for the data in VR and AR. And
Nice.
that's the whole concept. And they even created the conformance for what's holographic disk, what is the recording system, how you can read the data, how you can write the data, what are the actual testing environment, so what temperature, what materials you can use, etc, etc, etc. So there are bunch of stuff, and I love what they did in this idea. But yeah, mostly it is preparation of the new storage system for AR and VR. That's cool. That's so cool.
Great introduction and nice documentation. So really nice stuff.
It is really nice stuff, and I love that we know what will come to JS, of course. So yeah, it will be in probably within 2 to 3 months. We'll have in every single browser, and you will be able to use it. So let's go next.
Okay, I'm bringing to you Remix 1.18 and 1.18.1 small patches. As it happens, as we know, who haven't released a version and then straight away go with a patch.
Oh yeah.
No, live on production. Don't worry about it. But in general, in 1.18, we have a stable V2 dev server. And if you were using it previously, let's go with a different approach. Now we consider the new dev server stable, no more API changes. So if anyone was using opt-into unstable version, you need to update, unfortunately. But it is in working state, working condition, and it's ongoing. You get there, of course, HMR and HDR, so new features, new cool features since 1.14. So hot module replacement and hot data revalidation. Those things with the whole new dev server are working. Perfect. There is a viewport-driven prefetching for links, so small change there. Performance improvements, of course, and fixed typing issues when using React 17. Of course, as usual, it happens. Performance, you may tell it. Better, faster. It is provided as always. So, and a lot of updates for packages, especially connected with React DOM. Even the patch 1.18.1 is ignore missing React DOM client for React 17. So a couple of things connected with React 17 were fixed and provided to the user. I think that would be all from Remix. Please have a look at docs. Go on. You wanted to add something?
Yeah, like I do love what they're doing, and the concepts that Remix actually has. Yeah, we talked it before. As far as I remember, with Franek, that most of the frameworks that we have, they're alike. Yeah, Next.js are really close to Remix, or actually Remix is really close to Next.js with different approaches, but still, it's not the big revolution. It's mostly evolution, and those changes in Remix 1.18 is pretty cool. Like mostly, yeah, it's better, faster, cheaper, easier to use. It's better prepared for the new versions of React, or actually fits for 5th inch. So yeah, this is super cool. And also with the same idea, as you said, hey, it is better, faster, cheaper, and we fixed a bunch of stuff. I have as built, and as built also had a couple of versions and minor changes. So they created version 0.18. It was really last week or something. So they actually releasing all the minor changes, and mostly they are fixes the generators or that's the exports, and in most cases they're connected with TypeScript. So for example, in the latest version they fixed the TypeScript code generation edge case, where when you had a flat keep names and you target it as 2021, then the export of the class for the namespace was not the correct one. Like it was nearly the same, but not the same. And in the end of the day, they needed to fix it. They fixed it already. So there are a bunch of stuff. Of course, it is better, faster, cheaper, as always. But in most cases, they're just making some magic under the hood.
As we know, the change with TypeScript, everyone has got issue. And the issue in general, I would say, on the market is with dependencies. All of us are working on dependencies between the packages, between the systems which we are applying, and all of that needs to be updated. And sometimes you
Yeah.
get another release just because you need to update packages, which create some errors or block you in use of
Yeah.
some functionalities, unfortunately. So maybe it's a typical issue as I sometimes we step on it on the project, too many dependencies, and all of that we need to work on that.
Yeah.
In my
Or some.
opinion,
Yeah, and sometimes when you create patches and patches and patches, then probably the patch from the first minor patch needs to be fixed or need to rebuild something, and in the end of the day, you'll end up with the major patch and so on. And for that, we can move to Ember.
great introduction. Let's be fair. Great introduction. I hear you. And as we can read on docs on the blog post, Ember 5.0 has no new features because we did all that work in minor releases instead. Thanks, goodbye, we can say. Right, done,
Yeah,
case closed.
case closed, yeah.
But let's, like you said, Ember 5.0 is released. Ember 5.1 begins beta cycle. So if you want to add something, you have 6 weeks, currently rather 5. And the things which were quite interesting from that post, because it's the post covers the release strategy, how to upgrade, what to expect, and depreciated APIs that were removed. And this is the first major release under the new release strategy and goals proposed by Ember team. And it's quite cool. To summarize it, every 12 minor releases, Ember will ship a new major release. Done.
Yep.
Nothing more, right? And in this case, as they said, nothing, no new features, 4 bug fixes in the previous types, and 0 depreciations. In general, if you want to migrate to 5.0, migrate first to 4.12. If you resolve everything what will be broken or explodes, you are ready to go to 5, just like that. So the whole post and the approach of Ember team, I like it. Maybe even I love it. And nice.
Yeah, I love that the idea of actually introducing new things. So if you're using Ember and you actually updated your projects with the release dates or within week or so when the new release actually was made, then probably you're already prepared for Ember.js
You're on
5.0.
spot.
You're
Yeah.
on spot, and that's actually very very cool what they did, and I think it is very close to what Versa with Next.js is doing, because Versa with Next.js was doing this with Next.js 13. If you actually upgraded your project from Next 10 to Next 11, they made a change, and then from Next 11 to 12, and you've been there. And the best thing is, if you actually updated Next.js 12 on the minor changes step by step, then actually moving from Next.js 12,
12 to 13.
15, it was pretty easy. But there's only one thing with Next.js. It was this change with UpRouter, so the new architecture that will be removed in the next
Somewhere.
few, somewhere, someday, and then you need to make that change, and that is actually a big reward to be done. But if you do it it right now, then probably you will be already prepared for the newer, better, faster, and so on version of Next.js. And this is how Ember actually made it happen. I love it. Actually, I
Also,
love.
yeah, this approach is quite smooth and pleasant for developers, and yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Exactly. So I do have another new version of a package, actually, which is a new version of styled components that I love. I love using styled components. I love using Tailwind CSS. Both of them are great. And new version of styled components actually introduce breaking changes, and those breaking changes are actually, I won't say big, but they're very important. And the first thing that is very important in breaking changes is that if you're using TypeScript and you installed add types / styled components to get your types, you need to remove it because new version is coming with the old types. And that's actually big change. You have less dependencies in your project, but still having the same functionalities. Another part is actually they moved most of the functionality for with component API, which was, hey, this is the style component that I want to be used as this component. They moved it to S prop, and the same goes with the forwarded S because they had the same prop, so they dropped most of them to just use S prop in the end of the day. This is very, very big in my opinion. And then they made a lot of changes in Style Sheet Manager. I don't know what actually happened, but in most cases that if you're having an application that needs to support older browsers, then you need to actually add enable vendor prefixes, because without it you
You're
won't have
toast.
your toasts. Yeah, and of course Node 13 and above is required right now to run styled components, so you need to update very, very fast. That's it.
In this area, because I don't use it, haven't used it, and I'm quite comfortable with that, so I won't bring any large value into this discussion. I would just bring one small thing, that you are saying 6.0.0 is ready. 4 days ago, so after 1 day, there was a release of 6.0.1. Fix it an issue where a dev time warning was being triggered too eagerly. I respect that. We know that it happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, like it is so cool to see that, hey, actually after 1 day they released another fix. But yeah,
I would
that's cool.
say it's a normal process of going to the production. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Firstly, you go to production, then you fix your bugs.
Not all, but those which are too irritating.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes when you need to prototype things, we need playgrounds. And yeah.
Now we get to new MDN playground from Mozilla. First of all, I would say that the post is really pleasant to read. Guys from MDN Playground, they know how to write, and it's a pleasant read. There is not much technical stuff. There exist, of course, key features like instant prototyping, live interactions, expanded code examples, collaborative capabilities. Those are the things which changed. And those are the things which were provided by MDN Playground new version. And as they say, it wasn't needed, but they wanted to. And the playground is exactly what you expected it to be. You have additional option of sharing your code from the playground. Of course, if you are logged in on Mozilla, so you may share your solutions. You're not bounded by sending only parts of code to guys on chat. And what else may I say you? They used formatting with Prettier, so the code looks nice, and Code Mirror for editing. There was a discussion about using Monaco, but they went with lighter version. That was the conclusion.
Yeah.
So MDN, new playground.
Yeah,
If you want to have fun.
yeah, exactly. Like I do love that when you read documentation right now in MDN, because that's the whole concept. Even you have what they called a live samples of the code, and
Yes.
this is where you actually use the playground of their creation, and even from there you can just see, oh, there's a play button. When you click that, boom,
New
you're there,
window.
you're in a playground, and you can change stuff, prototype if you need that, just have fun with new things in JS, and that's
I would
very, very cool.
I would say that this is the missing button which we get on WEC documentation, right? When you had option to go live and you were redirected to new page with playground where you
Yeah.
could modify the code. Here it is quite similar situation. You may have a bigger view and more fun with HTML, CSS and JavaScript from MDN.
Yeah, exactly. I do love it. I do love it how it works and what they did. I know that there are a bunch of other playgrounds on the market, but in the end of the day, probably MDN playground will be a first thing to go with all my prototypes that I have, because I have
Especially
doing
that you may go there straight from
anywhere. Actually, you can either have it as a tab or go it from the documentation, which you probably will be using every single day. So yeah, that's very cool.
So such a small news for as the last one, I think. Do we have anything more?
No, I think that was the last part of and the last news from this week. Like, we are in holiday season, what they call it. So not very big news, not very big changes. But yeah, a lot of things happens, as we always say, like always small changes, even small changes. We'll just bring it to you and you'll see what happens in JS world.
You're saying nothing big. ECMA approved documents, Ember 5.0 styled component 6. Nothing big, guys.
Nothing
Enjoy
big,
your
guys.
holidays.
Enjoy your holidays. Like, you when you'll be coming back from your holiday, then hey, you need to update, and that's it.
It's a summertime. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, guys. Thank you very much, Oleg, for the today's episode.
Thanks, Piotr.
And I think we can go with an outro. See you next
Thank
time.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for staying till the end. This is obviously outro message with all the links and information that could help you to support us or just contact us. And we greatly appreciate both. This channel is not supported by any big company or organization, so any donation is really gonna make a big difference and will allow us to expand and provide more content like that for you. You can contact us on social media like TikTok or Instagram for now. Also, we have special email address if you'd like to reach out to us or just give us feedback. We really appreciate that and we're looking forward to hearing from you. And if you really think that we've earned it, you can buy us a coffee. Link is here. So thank you again. All the links are down in the description and see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe.